undocumented introduction. And then we'll have some announcements from a student organization. And then we have our presenters from Project Protect Food Systems, who will be giving tonight's Community Connection Night presentation. I believe you all probably are familiar with UndocuHelp, but I'll give a brief overview. So the UndocuHelp website acts as a central hub to be able to provide all types of resources to the community, whether they're digital resources, webinars, or direct forms of contact, with the goal of connecting undocumented individuals and families to experienced service providers and available resources. This program was launched in the summer of 2020, and it was in collaboration with 3 organizations, the Immigrant Services Program at MSU Denver, the Denver Children's Advocacy Center, and the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition. And the central purpose of the program is to be able to coordinate and to expand the reach of existing community services that are crucial to Colorado's DACA and undocumented communities. This is a statewide program in Colorado, but we are working on expanding all of these resources to other regions. Along with launching our website, we have also launched a non-emergency phone line. We can put in the phone number on the chat in a bit. So if anyone has any questions or needs any resources, we do have a phone number that they can call. And we also launched these events, the Community Connection Nights, to be able to bring service providers and our community together to be able to learn from one another about different topics. And tonight we do have some folks from RISE, a student organization at MSU, who will be giving a short presentation and some announcements. So I'll pass it on to them. I believe Nancy.
Yeah, I can present first. Hi, everyone. My name is Nancy Martinez, and I'm a current MSU Denver student who will be graduating this semester. I am a part of RISE and have been a part of RISE, which is a student organization, for about 2 years now. I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience, and then I'm going to pass it along to my peers. I believe Leslie and Nayeli are in here as well. But RISE is a student organization that helps students that are like DACA, undocumented, first gen, and we help them with resources that are provided to them. And not only that, but we always have like different kinds of activities and communities that we love to just be a part of. Nayeli or Leslie, did you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure, I could go. Hello, everybody. My name's Nayeli Sanchez. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I'm a current 3rd-year student at MSU Denver as well, and I am the president for RISE at the moment. And as Nancy mentioned, she pretty summed it up pretty well. But yeah, we help gather resources, or we sometimes collaborate with the Immigrant Services Program as well at MSU to make events for students to come by, get free lunch at times, which is always great for college students that are always on the run, and be able to help them have a community in their campus. So we are a tri-campus organization. We welcome CCD students or CU Denver students as well, but we are majority MSU Denver students in our organization. And so far, we haven't had much events this semester, but we are planning an event for students that are able to come by and kind of de-stress from finals that are always stressful for college students. So that's some of the work that we focus on doing. And so I have been a part of RISE for almost 2 years as well. And I just currently became the president. So it's always been nice to have a sort of community that you could go to or ask questions when you don't want to go to a direct person that will help you. Just have a smaller group of friends that you could say, hey, I'm looking for this kind of resource. And it's always helpful to get those bigger connections on the way. But on my part, it's been very useful to be part of this community, and I could pass it on to Leslie if she would like to add anything else and introduce herself.
Yeah, I think you both like sum it all up. But my name is Leslie Bernal. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I am a junior currently at MSU Denver. I've been part of Rice as well for 2 years, and I think it just has like being part of Rice has taught me just so much like how important it is to have a community just inside where you go to school, and it has helped me a lot to just meet new people, and yeah, experience new things that I didn't do when I was in like CCD. So yeah, it's been really great, to have just a small community like they both said. But yeah.
Thank you all for sharing that. I think Stephanie also sent a couple things in the chat, or Nayeli, for the link, if any students are in here and are interested in that. And then for the rest of our programming, we do have the presentation by Project Protect Food Systems. And the presentation covers the work of the Project Protect Promotora network and the services that are provided to Colorado's agricultural worker communities that are regardless of immigration status. So I'll just go ahead and hand it over to our presenters to get us started with that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Leslie. My name is Hunter Knapp. I am the Development Director of Project Protect Food Systems, and I am going to be presenting with two of our regional directors, Zoila Gomez and Dolores Del Campo. And I will go ahead and share my screen and jump into the slideshow. So I'm going to start with a little bit about our organization. Project Protect Food Systems was founded in April of 2020 in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And we saw that a lot of resources and efforts were being made to protect the agricultural businesses across the country, but not as much was being done for workers. So we wanted to step in and do something. In Colorado, some of our guiding principles are shown right there. Food is necessary, workers are essential, and protections must be mandatory. Although agricultural workers were deemed essential workers early on in the pandemic, this didn't come with any additional protections. Workers were just asked to return to work and risk their health to keep the supply chains and the grocery stores running. And we believe that protections need to go hand in hand with that essential worker status. These efforts led us to advocate for legislation in 2021 in coalition with organizations like Towards Justice and the Hispanic Affairs Project. We helped pass Colorado SB 2187 that made some major strides for agricultural workers. I'll pause a second for translation. I always go a little fast. So in SB 2187, we did a lot for agricultural workers. Unfortunately, before the bill, rights like minimum wage and overtime and collective bargaining and organization were not protected for farm workers. We enjoy those rights in almost every other industry in Colorado and the United States, but before the bill, that was not a reality for farm workers. And we also included protections against retaliation because many farm workers fear that they'll be fired or even blacklisted if they speak out about the labor conditions or bad practices by their employers. In addition, we made sure to address many of those labor conditions through heat stress protections, guaranteed service provider access, and many other labor conditions advancements related to things like the short-handled hoe. At the same time, we launched the Project Protect Promotora network to really provide on-the-ground support for agricultural workers. It launched in September and October of 2020 with the goal of reducing the spread of COVID-19 in agricultural worker communities, while also addressing a lot of the other disparities in health related to food access and other things like that. And we now have a network of more than 60 Spanish-speaking community leaders that make up the Promotora network, and they are organized into 6 regions. We have 3 regions in the northeast portion of the state, one in the San Luis Valley, one in the southeast region, and then one on the western slope. And now I'm going to pass it to our regional directors, starting with Dolores Del Campo, to talk a little bit about what they do in their regions on the ground. Dolores?
Yes, estoy un poquito nerviosa. Buenas tardes. Lo voy a hacer en español, tenemos traductor. Gracias. Mi nombre es Dolores del Campo y yo soy la directora regional de Norte 3, que es los condados de Morgan, el condado de Logan, el de Kit Carson y Yuma. Entonces nosotros estamos trabajando, no, trabajando no es la palabra correcta. Estamos buscando a los trabajadores del campo, sobre todo para ver que estén bien. Es una plática que tenemos con ellos, que sepan que hay alguien que se preocupa por ellos. Hablamos sobre sus necesidades. Cada 2 semanas les llevamos comida. Los referimos a las vacunas, los referimos al doctor. Nos ha tocado que ayudarles para aplicar para un Medicare de emergencia. Desde los que llegan con la visa H2, decirles dónde pueden mandar el dinero a sus países, cómo se los pagan mejor el dólar en donde allá en México y llevar, o en Guatemala, donde vengan. Hemos tenido muy buenas experiencias. Yo pienso que con este año que estamos trabajando, hemos hecho una amistad, se puede decir. Hay más confianza, ya no nos ven como, ¿y esta señora loca qué quiere? O en la lechería no nos ve el manager, el que maneja ahí, porque pocas veces vemos a los dueños, ya no nos ven como, ¿qué es lo que andan haciendo estas señoras aquí? Ya saben que vamos a dejar comida. Claro que les dejamos información, otro tipo de información, les preguntamos si les están pagando bien, pero eso lo hacemos discretamente para que no nos quiten la oportunidad de ayudarlos. Nuestra área es muy grande, hay mucho trabajo de agricultura. Hemos tenido cosas malas, como a veces los trabajadores no quieren faltar porque no les pagan y tienen deudas de pagar cosas en su país, más aparte los gastos que tienen aquí. Pero ha sido una experiencia muy buena. Los agricultores, toda la gente que trabaja en el campo que hemos contactado nos tiene confianza. Podemos tener ese contacto humano, que yo creo que es lo que nos hace falta, saber que no estamos solos. Están muy agradecidos con este programa porque pues poca gente se preocupa por la gente del campo, ¿verdad? Así como que de veras, y no nos van a pedir nada, nos está dando comida y luego después no nos va a llegar un bill o algo, no, para nada. Entonces sí, es lo que estamos haciendo ahorita, ya después de haber trabajado con esta ley, este verano, tanto las promotoras como las organizadoras estamos listos para pasearnos por todos los files y vigilar que nuestros trabajadores realmente reciban su tiempo de descanso cuando esté muy alta la temperatura, que tengan un lugar de sombra y sobre todo que tengan esa confianza de buscarnos, de saber que no están solos, que estamos ahí para escucharlos, porque a veces no les podemos resolver el problema, pero cuando tiene uno un hombro donde llorar, cambia la situación. No sé si se me olvida algo, Hunter, pero creo que es lo que tenemos en esta región.
Muchas gracias, Dolores. Now I'll pass it to Zoila to talk a little bit about the San Luis Valley and the Promotores del Valle. We're really doing this work even before the Project Protect Promotora network started, and we're an inspiration for a lot of our work. So if you want to talk a little bit about how you got started as well, Zoila, that would be fantastic.
Claro, muchísimas gracias por la invitación. Y bueno, yo creo que una de las cosas muy importantes que acaba de mencionar Dolores es que hacemos exactamente el mismo trabajo. Nuestro compromiso es llevar los recursos a nuestros trabajadores agrícolas y algo que, algo que es fascinante en lo personal es que yo entré al proyecto de Promotores del Valle porque ya teníamos mucho tiempo que estábamos trabajando con la comunidad independientemente. Todos los organizadores comunitarios, como los promotores y ahora yo como directora regional, en algún momento en nuestra etapa fuimos o somos, hemos sido líderes comunitarios. O sea que hemos ayudado en nuestro vecindario, hemos sido esas personas que ya la gente te tiene confianza. Entonces, al tener un network o una asociación con Project Protect, la verdad vino a cambiar el entorno aquí al Valle de San Luis. Cada líder no está solo, ahora somos 4 líderes comunitarios aquí en el Valle de San Luis. Perdón, somos 10, somos 6 promotores, 6 organizadores comunitarios y la directora regional. Entonces yo empecé como promotora y trabajar desde abajo es una cosa fascinante. Como ejemplo, les podría decir que incluso te conviertes no solo en líder, pero te conviertes en una persona que verdaderamente lucha por traer esos recursos a la región. Ahorita estamos trabajando de la mano con un programa que se llama Left Behind Workers Fund y estamos ayudando a las familias que no recibieron el estímulo federal y que no reciben el desempleo, personas indocumentadas, para que reciban un fondo monetario en efectivo. Entonces es una cosa increíble. El network va a terminar de dar 270 becas al final del mes, pronosticamos, y estamos hablando de casi $500,000. Entonces es una cosa increíble que, como dice Dolores, estoy muy de acuerdo. Claro, el dinero, el apoyo es genial y eso no se puede negar, pero el hecho de que tengas un grupo, una comunidad que te recibe con una sonrisa, que te dice, hola, ¿cómo están? Incluso ahorita yo me encuentro en una de nuestras locaciones donde acabamos de hacer una asociación con una organización que le hacía le hacía falta comida para su gente y nos la mandó. Entonces, muy interesante. Cuando Dolores estaba hablando, acababa de entrar una familia a la oficina por su caja. Y les digo, tengo junta y tengo que presentar. Y lindísimas me dicen, bueno, te dejo, ¿no? Entonces, es padrísimo, es muy lindo poder vivir un trabajo comunitario de esta manera y que sea pues mutuo, ¿no? Y pues que sea para nuestra gente de la agricultura mucho mejor, porque es la gente que más trabaja y es la gente que no puede venir a la mañana por esos recursos y que estemos ahí disponibles. Ahora sí que 24 horas, a cualquier hora nos pueden hablar y alguien en el network va a estar disponible para ayudarles. Así es de que la verdad es una bendición, no solo como promotora o como directora regional, pero como estar del otro lado también. Creo que es mutuo el apoyo que se nos brinda. ¿Alguna pregunta? Anything else, Hunter?
Wonderful. Thank you, Zoila. I'm going to keep going and share a little bit about the successes of the overall network since we launched in 2020. We have assisted with more than 18,500 vaccine appointments for agricultural workers, starting back in March of 2021 when everyone became eligible for the first vaccine. And now we still help people who want to get their first vaccines, of course, but then also H2A workers coming in who need boosters. And we really make that a priority of our work. At the same time, food insecurity is a big deal for agricultural worker communities, sadly. And so we have distributed more than 600,000 pounds of food over the past 18 months. And then, as Zola and Dolores mentioned, we've really tried to meet whatever needs agricultural workers or their communities have, whether that be GED classes, English classes, getting a driver's license, legal services, or any other service providers. And at the bottom there, I have a link to our data dashboard that takes all of the reports from these promotoras and directors and organizes it into a wonderful graphic format that I'm just gonna show off real quick. So this is our data dashboard. You can see all of the outreach that we've conducted over the past 18 months. And we connect with about 45% women and about 55% men. And then you can see the age distribution right there. One thing I didn't mention is the immigration status of the people we connect with. We know that about 50% of agricultural workers in the United States are undocumented. We actually don't have state level data for Colorado because we don't ask about any sort of immigration status, whether you're undocumented or not. Frankly, we don't even usually ask if you're an agricultural worker. We really just try to support people in need, whatever that may mean in terms of the needs they have or their documented status. So we don't specifically track how many undocumented people we help, but we know that it's a good number and we are always happy to help if anyone has any needs. A lot of our outreach happens either in person for those initial connections and then following up by phone or texting. And you can see kind of the flow of our outreach. It obviously peaks in kind of the April through October, November months, because that's when all the agricultural workers are here, if they're migrant or H2A workers. And then in the winter months, it typically drops off. Unfortunately, this year, that data was strongly impacted by COVID affecting a lot of our staff members. We take a lot of precautions, but our promotoras and regional directors are frontline workers themselves. And so they are out there risking their own health to support the health of our communities. In addition to the vaccine appointments we help facilitate, we also distribute COVID tests, face masks, and hand sanitizer, and then really try to communicate information about COVID-19. We know in Hispanic communities, there was a lot of vaccine hesitancy, as in really all communities, and really in rural Colorado. There's a lot more vaccine hesitancy than in kind of the Denver metro region. So we try to provide education, help people understand what they're participating in and what the potential health risks are and may not be. So that is a big part of our work. But then again, the food insecurity aspect of our work is also incredibly important. We have this lovely map that shows really at this point where a lot of the agricultural workers are in the state. And you can see kind of the rough outlines of our region, where the western slope is, the San Luis Valley in the bottom middle, southeast region, and then our 3 northeast regions up there. And we also help people get connected with SNAP and other food assistance benefits. This last tab, agricultural worker data, is kind of a collection of the rest of our data. We also provide things like work gloves, clothing, items to help migrant farm workers while they're moving around a lot, and then a lot of referrals and education about other service providers. The last thing I'm going to talk about today is something that we've actually just launched. It's called Esencial Colorado. It is a community archive of agricultural worker stories and experiences that we are just launching. Our soft launch was on Monday, actually, and it is very much still in its beta stage, but we are looking forward to having this as a collection of farm worker stories so that people who are often made invisible and not covered by traditional media sources or journalists can really get their stories out there in a way that is accessible, and we're really excited for that. So I will drop links to all of those things in the chat. But now I want to open it up for questions in case anyone has any questions for me, or more importantly, our regional directors, Zoila and Dolores. Zoila, I saw you raise your hand. If you want to add something, feel free to just jump in.
Yeah, I just really want to share two stories in particular from the San Luis Valley that showcase how, like Hunter was explaining, we are there. We have become that group that shows up when people need it the most. And two incidents where when Omicron really hit the San Luis Valley, we got a phone call from Costilla County. One of our community organizers got a call from the sheriff's department. And let me go back. The sheriff's department happened to provide us with, I think I remember it was hand sanitizer at some point for us to pass to our agricultural workers. And here we are, probably 6 months, a year later, and we get a call, an emergency call, saying that the sheriff department from Costilla County, everybody had, there was an outbreak. And here we are, promotores, we're sending food boxes, we're sending hygiene kits that happen to have that hand sanitizer, that, you know, some of the hand sanitizer that they provided and some of the bottles that we were looking that they donated to us. So it was really a full circle. Like Hunter said, we were there to help them out. And then the last incident happened. Unfortunately, we were doing boxes at our place, and there was a fire that started. This was a week ago. And it started right across the street from where we were, and we were the first ones to call. We had kids helping us build the boxes. To make story short, the kids were watching the fire, building boxes. They were talking about the great effort and the great work that the firefighters were doing. And we ended up giving out water, oranges, coffee, like 2 hours later to all the firefighters from our own pantry. So, you know, really a huge full circle. We're here for our agricultural workers, we're here for our community, but what I'm trying to say is that it's everyone is included, and you will never know when it's gonna come full circle. So we are very blessed to be able to have built this network within the San Luis Valley, and I'm pretty sure, Dolores, it's the same in all the network across the state. So thank you for letting us share.
Thank you for adding that, Zoila. Dolores, if you want to add anything, feel free to jump in as well. If not, I saw that Leslie asked if someone in the community wants to become a Promotora. Oh, go ahead, Dolores. Sorry, translation.
No, solamente quería reafirmar lo de todas esas experiencias que tenemos con las comunidades con las que trabajamos, y de veras, yo siempre le he dicho a Zoila que cuando yo sea grande quiero ser como ella. Me encanta su entrega que tiene, porque yo todavía no le llego. Y lo de promotora, pues yo creo que contactarse con nosotros, o si hay un espacio por el área donde está, y sobre todo yo pienso que el de promotora es como su nombre lo dice, promover todo, la salud, el bienestar, aunque a veces sí se siente uno medio triste, pero contacta según el área donde estás. Creo que eso es todo. Gracias, Hunter.
Thank you, Dolores. So I'll just go to the questions in the chat. Leslie asked if someone wants to be in the community, wants to become a Promotora, what is that process like? So we are in our 6 regions. We have 1 regional director for Promotoras, and then 6 community organizers or neighborhood organizers. And these people are all identified from kind of existing connections they have with agricultural worker communities in that region, either maybe through their family, maybe they were a past agricultural worker themselves. Maybe they just are connected with immigrant communities in that area and are very passionate about agricultural workers. So when we were launching the network, we worked a lot with Colorado Legal Services, Migrant Farm Worker Division, to identify the regional directors. And then they kind of built their teams. And it really depends on your area. So I saw that Bertha asked where we're located. The 6 regions, Dolores mentioned, they're in Morgan, Colorado, near Burlington. And then Zoila is in the San Luis Valley. She is personally located in Alamosa, but they really serve that whole area. Our Southeast Regional Director is based mainly in Pueblo, but really goes all the way east of that to the Kansas border. Our Regional Director for North 1 is located really in Longmont, does Boulder, Longmont, and those counties. North 2 is more focused in the Greeley area. And then Western Slope is a massive region. Really, our regional director lives near Montrose, Colorado, but we range really up and down the Western Slope. We don't get all the way down to kind of the Telluride area, but we try to cover basically the whole state. Did you want to add anything to that, Zoila or Dolores?
I think you nailed it. I guess one thing that I would say, how do you become part of the network? So you may not officially start as a promotora, but I would definitely encourage you to reach out to the Promotora network in your area, to come and volunteer, come and see what it is like. Maybe ask, when is your next food distribution? We are constantly in need of help. We do make it work. We really love what we do. So we find a way, we make it happen. We are supported by agencies like I don't think the job in the San Luis Valley would be successful if it wasn't for Rocky Mountain SARE, if it wasn't for the Rocky Mountain Prevention Research Center, if it wasn't for the Immigrant Resource Center, who just exactly today and yesterday, they sent out families to us for us to give them food boxes, So having that communication and really, like, if you are a community leader in your community, if you are interested in helping farm workers, then you are a promotora on your own, but you could definitely become part of this network by starting to associate with us and joining us in these community efforts. Now, perhaps you may not be contracted, like hired at the beginning, but if there's a spot open, then you would have an opportunity to take a spot. That's my only guess, right? But also with that, I want to say that none of us did this work because we were going to be, we were going to have a side job. Like I said, I think all of us have done this work before this, and being compensated, it's just an extra bonus. Being financially compensated has been an extra bonus. I was told, and this is true story, I was told that Project Promotora Network was going to be in the San Luis Valley for the next 3 months, and it's going to be almost 2 years. When I was reached out, like, Sola, we're going to do this network, and it's only going to be 3 months. Yeah, do you want to join us? And I'm like, sure. Well, almost 2 years later, amigos, here we are. And honestly, I will never let Project Protect go away, or our network to go away, even if we don't get compensated. So reach out to the regional director. So Hunter, maybe you may want to give our names and our numbers so that people can contact us and join us.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Zoila. I'll actually stop sharing my screen so I can drop some things in the chat. So there are a bunch of links. That first link is our website. The second one just goes straight to that data dashboard I was showing off. The third one goes to the community archive that I mentioned at the end. Then we have our email address and my email address, and I'll drop in Zoila's and Dolores's. You'll notice a theme. It's just our first names at Project Protect Food Systems. protectfoodsystems.org. And then I'll drop in the other organizers with their regions. Please feel free to create the email address on your own.
Also, I just wanted to share, someone asked in the chat if we provide legal services. We do refer people to legal assistance. We do have support from Colorado legal services. And even myself, I remember 2 weeks ago, I'm texting Hunter and be like, Hunter, I got a call from a friend that needs a lawyer about who should I contact, right? So it is like, we do try to find resources or the places that people can go to. So for legal services, yes, we do have, I would say, a good community network that can help us or lead us to the right person or lawyers that people can contact.
Thank you, Zoila.
Hunter being one of them, maybe.
Yeah, I would just add to that. I am an attorney, and I actually was planning on being an immigration lawyer. I graduated in May of 2020, right when the pandemic hit, and got involved with Project Protect. And like Zoila said, it was like, oh, we're going to be doing this for a few months. And here we are 2 years later, still in a pandemic, but also still working together, and it really has been fantastic. So thank you for hearing us out today. We're really excited to share our work with you all. Were there any other questions, comments, thoughts? Wonderful. Well, I think that's all we had for today. So I can pass it back to Leslie or Juan, whoever wants to take over. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Hunter, Zoila, and Dolores, for sharing this information and for sharing your experiences. That was great. And then also the students and members of RISE also for that information, and to all of the participants for joining us tonight. And then if there are any service providers that aren't listed on UndocuHub, I will also drop the Calendly link for you to sign up for a meeting with us to be listed on UndocuHub. But I think that's also it, unless Juan or anyone else has anything else to add. Perfect. Well, thank you all so much, everyone.